is a Vietnamese migrant, a stand-up comedian whose family fled to Australia after the fall of Saigon in 1975.
14 years old, I took my violin out into the mall. And we were raking it in. I've got a string quartet together at high school. Went out in the street, played Ina Kleiner Nuts music and Ravel's Bolero and Pachelbel's Canon. And people just loved it. We just fell over. We were just showing off, really. We were just 5 boys.
It's on. There's 150,000 Vietnamese people in this country. 150,000. And only 3 surnames. Let me tell you a little Vietnamese secret. See, the first 3 guys that came here was Lee, Tran, and Wing, right? Everybody else come under what's called the family reunion scam. Scheme. Lucky we all look the same, eh?
Over here is Mr. Phung Hoa, boss of Vietnamese Big Bang Bang Gang. Over here is Mr. Fartintino, Italian mafia boss. And I am Dmitri, Russian crime family boss. Now we are all making peace between ourselves temporarily because this Lebanese piece of poofed up. He's rooting all our daughters and putting videos on the internet.
We should cut his balls off! I want him dead! Give me something, I stick it in him! You know, I eat it!
I want to kill him, then resuscitate him again, you know, with like CPR and then I want to kill him again!
Yeah, I do the Addams Family. I go da-da-da-da. And then I go da-da-da-da. I go da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Right, and people went nuts. People just went nuts, going, whoa! And then for an encore, I took my shoes off and cracked my toes into the microphone, and they just go, oh no, what's this guy?
Do you have something a little more, bouncy?
Bouncy? Certainly, sir. Bounce!
No, wait, I was actually...
Stop bouncing!
Please welcome to New Faces, Act 3, Hung Lee.
That was a little Chinese piece called Tuning. Mozart wrote his first symphony when he was 6 years old. I wrote this when I was 3. Thank you.
And I just love it when a comedian successfully takes the mickey out of himself, which you just did beautifully.
Oh,
do you really play legit violin?
No, I was just faking it.
Oh, I'm told you went to Melbourne University and you hold some sort of record.
Oh, yeah. I must do, I think. The first Asian ever to be kicked out of Melbourne University.
Why were you kicked out?
I was just doing a bit of busking and all that stuff. I enjoyed comedy more than classical music, I thought.
Yeah, and not much study, eh?
No.
Here's KAMAHL to talk about your performance.
But I think it's interesting to see how people adapt to a new environment. I think comedy, coming from another part of the world, and to live here and to do comedy would be the hardest thing. I mean, to do classical music or do anything else, I don't say that it's easy, but comedy would be harder, and I think you've done a great job, and I think I like your comedy very much, and I've given you 39.
39, and that is 78 for you, Hung Lee. More to come after this break.
He's done all the festivals and won some awards, including Red Faces in '87 against Bernie from Hard Eye, who he beat. He's been on all the telly shows, even Recovery, and even The Muppet Show. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Hung Lee, house band. Get back to work and bring him on. Well, Hung, thanks for coming back with our camera as well. It's very good of you to return back to Australia. You feeling at home and comfy? Hey, no footsies allowed, come on. Been a busy bloke lately. Jaunts to the Adelaide Fringe Festival, performing, of course, Now and Zen, and the Hong Kong Fringe Festival as well. How did that go?
Yeah, Hong Kong was great, eh? You know, like, I was there, like, most of the audience are like, you know, your Aussies and your expats and stuff. Right. Yeah, like half the audience were like, you know, Chinese people. And they speak English and everything, but the thing is, like, they come up to me and they go, Hung, man, we understand every word you say. We have no idea what you're saying.
Really?
It's really
weird.
Why?
Why is that?
It was a bit too Aussie, I think.
Too Aussie, the Aussie slang and the colloquialisms coming through. Really? Yeah. Too Aussie for your own good. It's that blue hair. What's with the hair?
Had a fight with the Cookie Monster.
Crazy wacky.
Hey.
Nice. Okay.
Fell asleep in the toilet. Someone flushed it.
And the real reason we lent you the camera, of course, is because you got to visit your birthplace. Haven't been back to Vietnam since '75, is that right?
Yeah, I went back to the womb.
The womb, yes, good.
Went back to the womb, yeah, it was great, man. It's so funny, so many funny stories.
Yeah. I think we can actually see some of your fantastic filming skills. We have some footage here that you've brought back with you. Splendid. Wow, what's that?
Look at that. Yeah, that's my dad's Buddha.
What do you mean, your dad's?
My dad built that.
He built it?
Yeah, that was in my front yard. But,
he's a sculptor?
Yeah. And but when the and that's in Hue, that's like halfway up Vietnam.
Aren't they beautiful? And he made all this stuff.
And he made this. Yeah, it's a big.
And he made you. Well, how come he went wrong with you?
What's wrong with me?
Nothing. Nothing. Has he been back there since to Vietnam?
Yeah, he's been back
since '75.
Yeah.
You all came over together in '75. Is that right?
Yeah. We all came around together, and yeah. Well, this is like a World Heritage statue at the moment.
Stunning.
In Hue, yeah, it's beautiful. So, it's revolutionaries in Vietnam during the French thing.
What are they? Trees? Bonsai?
Trees. And it's
the Lee's
school.
house?
That's my school.
Oh, where's you?
No. That is a little kid. It's my old school.
Little Hung with glasses on.
Little Hungs everywhere. Look at
that. Did you actually go to your school and visit with your camera then?
Yeah.
That's a bit of fun. Very good. We've got some more footage as well of beautiful cuisine, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
Hey, look at that. Yeah, this is
yeah. Bit of a delicacy there.
This is snake. We ate snake.
What do you mean? A snake?
Yeah.
What kind?
It's a cobra.
A cobra?
Yeah, and it's great. Like, they get the venom, and you swallow the venom, and it's good for your arthritis and stuff.
No, that's wrong.
It's apparently.
Really?
Yeah, and you get these little pancake things.
You'll love it. Who's that lady?
She's a waitress. Look at that, that's snake.
So that's cobra?
Yeah.
You're hardcore, Hung?
Yeah, I am hardcore, man.
Who's that?
I'll eat it.
Feral. Someone's going, oh, Feral.
Feral.
We've got a whole lot of Hung footage that we're able to show over the next few weeks, I believe. You've taken quite a few little stories there, haven't you?
Yeah. Went down the tunnel, the Cu Chi tunnel.
Welcome to the Cu Chi tunnels. Now, Cu Chi is his village just outside of Saigon that had the carpet just bombed at it by the Americans during the war. You know how people say that Vietnam had more bombs dropped at it than World War I and World War II put together? Well, Cu Chi was the most bombed, gassed, burnt, defoliated napalm place in the history of warfare. Cu Chi is a Vietnamese word for what the f was that?
So what the locals thought is that they're going to live underground. So they built all these really intricate tunnels, and they had everything down here, man. Like they had a school down here, a hospital, a casino, everything, right? But what they didn't have was any food because they couldn't grow anything. How they survived was that before every mealtime, 3 or 4 of these big convicts would duck down this hole and crawl along in the dark for a while, and then pop up smack bang right in the middle of the nearest US Army base. And while the Americans were asleep, these guys would go around and they would bomb and shoot the hell out of everything, make heaps of noise, and then duck down the hole and crawl home and sit there and wait. After they blow the place back to the Stone Age, American soldiers would go and look for these tunnels. But the openings for these tunnels would be booby trapped, so the soldiers wouldn't go down themselves. What they did is that they sent dogs down there. And now I'm thinking, with a tunnel full of really hungry Vietnamese people with really sharp chopsticks, that's just like delivering pizza, isn't it?
Yeah, Vietnam. I'd love to go to Vietnam someday.
Vietnam rocks,
Trek
man.
through, yeah.
Vietnam rocks.
Beautiful.
It's so funny.
What are your plans for this year Melbourne Comedy Festival?
Melbourne Comedy Festival doing a new show, brand new show called Noodle Frontity.
Is this something to do with your little journey overseas and stuff?
It's my trip back home. So like I went like only halfway there, so it's like only half Noodle Frontity.
All right,
but next
okay.
year will be like
the full
Noodle Frontity.
Like Monty. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that is on from the 2nd to the 26th of April at 7 p.m. in the Melbourne Town Hall in the Cloakroom. And then to Edinburgh and New York later as well. What are they for?
Yeah, hey, New York Fringe
Wow.
saw me at the Adelaide Fringe Festival just last week, and they said, man, we should take you to New York. You're going to right over there. So I'm going, cool, man.
That's full on.
I'll go to New York Fringe
Fantastic.
for sure.
Yeah, New York Fringe. And what's the Edinburgh thing?
Well, I'm going back to the Edinburgh Festival again, doing Noodle Frontity, and now in Zen, so 2 shows back to back.
Wow.
And then New York Fringe.
Double
and then
bill.
See what happens, I don't know.
Fantastic. And you want to hang around and play a little bit through this show?
I'll play with you.
Thank you.
Oh, I've got you a present, eh?
Thanks.
It's a shuttlecock. Little Vietnamese kids play with them all the time.
We can play this.
Yeah.
This is like a hacky sack except with a feather stuck in it.
That's it.
Splendid work. Thanks, Hung. And thanks very much for coming in, Mr. Hung Lee!
Watching this show.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon Breath Theater and Cabaret Restaurant in beautiful Mascot.
I remember New Faces were on late afternoon on a Saturday, and there was Hung. And seriously, it's like my dreams had been answered in one. I couldn't believe it. Bert Newton delivered me the Vietnamese Paul Hogan. There he was. It was this kind of laconic, laid-back, kind of larrikin quality that you find in a lot of Australian stand-ups, with the main exception being he was Vietnamese. He had all the inherent qualities that were perfect for this show.
Well, Wogorama has been like a huge break for me because like it lets me use all the skills that I've got, you know, like, and hone all the skills that I've got, like dancing and a bit of acting. I've never acted, you know, it's like giving me a chance to act, and it's giving me a chance to you know, do my stand-up and stuff in front of, you know, 1,000 people every night. And getting the time on stage and getting, I'm playing the violin and I'm playing all these different characters and all this sort of thing. So, you know, it's like everything I've wanted to do, Wogorama's let me do it. And I'm shocked, I'm surprised why Nick has written such a big part for an Asian guy.
Chinese? What do you think you're doing, Chinese?
I want to be a good Aussie. I work hard, I keep my job.
Good Aussie? Good Aussie. Hey, you listen to me because I hear very long time, all right? You work hard like this, eh? I must work hard like this too. This no good for me. No good for my back, eh? You understand Chinese?
Yeah, good.
Good, good man italiano, but no good. Hey. You no understand, all right? To be good Aussie, you must be good bludger.
Ah, good bludger.
Good bludger. This country no work too hard. Welcome to Australia.
It's probably not the most subtle piece of writing, but the parallel's an important one in that the same sort of thing my parents experienced in the 50s and 60s, a lot of Asian immigrants are experiencing now. And there's a great line in The Clean Laser I really love where she says, you don't worry, after 20, Australians really, begin to accept you after 20 years. And she said, but we've already been here 20 years. And I say, for you maybe 40 years, that whole thing of like, well, will we accept the Asians as well as we've accepted the Southern Europeans? And it's still a big question that I don't think anyone's answered yet and won't be answered for a long time.
People very different to die, you understand? That's why many people lose job, because money to die more important than people. You understand? Yeah, money more important than 20 years. Anyway, doesn't matter, no worries. Just my life, no worries. You be happy here, all right? I hate this job. All right, Chinese? Yeah, really, I hate. Oh, yeah. You be happy, no worries. All right?
Petula? Greek? Vietnamese?
Sign.
Bữa này bụng quá nên chán quá muốn khóc luôn. Canh ton, Rockstar anh hùng mới. Làm bữa ăn cho vui, dễ lắm.
Rockstar anh hùng mới. Hả? Ngon quá, mà dễ quá.
Có một phích nguyên trai. Canh ton Rockstar anh hùng mới.
Rockstar.
Có một phích. I must go back to Japan.
But why?
Don't ask me the reason why.
Then why?
I have to go back to Japan.
For God's sakes, why?
Don't have time to explain. Sayonara.
Why?
Back to Japan.
Why? Back to Japan.
But even in the cities, there are stories of survival.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Hung Lee!
Hung Lee is a comedian and a survivor.
You know that show Survivor? Have you seen that show? Every week, my whole family, we get together, we turn the lights off, we watch Survivor, and my old man goes berserk.
30 years ago, Hung and his family fled Vietnam to make a new home in the southern city of Melbourne.
30th of April 1975, it's the last day of the Vietnam War, and we get this phone call. It says you've got 3 hours to leave the country. You know, so like so quickly, you know, we packed our bags, fed the dog to Grandma, and we drove to the dock, jumped on the boat, and then you look back, and the whole of Saigon was burning. Mate, I reckon these flames just to make Vietnamese people feel at home.
You know how close I came to an English-speaking Vietnamese guy in Australia in 1975? They gave us a guy from Malta.
6 million migrants have moved to Australia since the Second World War. 500,000 were refugees. Today, 140 different nationalities live on Australian soil. 1 in 4 Australians were not born here.
Australia's different because it's made up of so many different nationalities. People hold on to their cultures.
Bringing their stories, their food, and their outlook with them, European, Asian, and Middle Eastern migrants are constantly transforming Australia.
The Italians came here after the Second World War, made huge impact. Yeah, brought spaghetti here, and like, you know, it wasn't for Italians, we'd still be eating pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup, pumpkin scones.
Always looking for new material, Hung hits the road to experience a bizarre Aussie sport where the contestants are deadly. Hung Lee was once an outsider, and that gives him a special perspective on the Australian character, which he mines for his act.
Australians have this great way of speaking. It's like they understate everything. The nearest town could be 600 miles away, and an Australian will tell you, it's just down the road. But Australians have to underplay everything. Mind you, not everything is understated.
Anything that's over the top is gold for comedians.
You know, the Egyptians got the pyramids, well, we got the big pineapple. Right-hand turn of the big pineapple, you end up with the big cow. Size does matter in Australia. I reckon Australia used to be a land of the giants before the white fellas turned up. Mary had a little ram. Its fleece as white as snow. He got into Mary's steroid stash, and look at Fluffy grow.
Hung's travelled 1,500 miles from Melbourne to Cairns in far north Queensland. The animal he most wants to see is the country's most despised creature. But it still gets invited to the pub.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, tide race. You ready? 3, 2, 1, tide race. Away they go.
Put 5 cane toads in the middle, put some numbers on their back, and gamble.
Another immigrant, this time gone wrong. This toad was introduced from South America to eat the beetles on sugarcane. But it soon overran the environment because it had no natural predators. It's toxic to anything that eats it.
They're killing crocodiles now. Cane toads are going to take over Australia.
Hung wins $20 and a new routine for his city audiences.
That's Australia for you, mate. Sport and gambling. Australia will gamble on anything.
In Australia, you either adapt or move on.
Funny and entertain you and make you laugh and maybe be ethnic and maybe not. I've got no idea. Let's see what comes out when I invite you to put your hands together, folks, and welcome onto the stage to start off our second bracket, Hung Lee. Come on, Hung.
Oh, sorry. Flashback. Quick impression. Picasso.
Van Gogh. And Tran T. Kwok. This is kid I went to school with.
Maybe I should stop.
No, you
Jeez,
can't
what
stop.
keeps you going, Vince? What keeps you going, then? I mean, God.
I don't know. I just like making people laugh.
You like making people laugh.
Powerful, you know.
It is great, isn't it? I love it too. I love it.
I love it. You can't stop.
It's a mission, mate. I know, Vince. Thanks, mate.
There you go.
Fucking hell. What a joke. And I love it when I feel great about myself.
Sure.
You know, when you really feel like you're big.
You know what? Because you're pure, right? You don't play an instrument up there. You don't sort of have props up there. So when they like you, right, they like you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's
but if they don't like you,
they fucking
they don't like you.
They don't like you.
As you can see, I'm not from here. I'm from Saigon, North Richmond. No, Vietnam actually. Saigon, Sin City they used to call it. Forget Bangkok. Bangkok is a Vietnamese word for virgin.
I always get a giggle. I don't get that laugh though. You know that tearjerker? Where they're on the floor and there's a cardiac arrest and you go to call the ambulance? That's power.
No, but a giggle is power. A giggle is kind of like respect. You know, they're saying, "Oh yeah, I'm with you." Because when people laugh, they're saying to themselves, "All right, I'm as smart as you. I get it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether it's a giggle, I sometimes get off on like just like extreme concentration from the crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I get them really laughing hard, I'll just stop and I might just go dead serious for a while.
Yeah.
I just love them. They're going like.
Picture this, right? We used to have a huge front yard, right? And on huge, great big gates and great big iron gates and fence everywhere. On one side is massive lychee tree, and on the other side we have this humongous statue of the Buddha, as big as a house, right? And I remember when I was about 8 years old, I was sitting there watching Monkey, like you do, right? And this plane flies past, drops the bomb on the presidential palace, misses the house, lands in the backyard, blows up his barbecue, kills the illegal Mexican gardener. The force of the blast, right, just smashes all our windows back, blows the head off our Buddha, and nobody claimed responsibility. So nobody paid for the damage. We had to tell the insurance people that Dad left the handbrake off in the car. And they believed us. Lucky, where were they? But it wasn't funny back then, though. You know how people say that Vietnam brought the war into people's living rooms? Yeah, you're telling me, right? We didn't even have a TV. So one day my dad decided we should leave Saigon. I don't know what gave him the idea, but I think all those tanks double parked in our driveway might have had something to do with it, right? So we get this phone call from one of his friends. He says, "You've got 3 hours to leave the country." So everyone's in a panic and stuff, you know. We packed our bags, fed the dog to Granny. Loaded the car, drove down to the dock, grabbed a slab of beer because, you know, there was a few of us. There was, you know, my family, one of my dad's students. There was a skipper, the millionaire. There was his wife, a professor, a movie star, some girl called Mary Ann, some little guy called Tattoo. Anyway, we came to Australia in this old leaky prawn trawler. This boat was leaking so much the prawns were wearing life jackets. In fact, it was sinking. I've just found out the other day from Sale of the Century that SOS means save our souls. I always thought SOS meant shit, our ship. I'll work on that one.
It's brilliant, you know. Like most of the people out there would call themselves sort of regular Australians, but they're willing to sort of learn, and you are learning because when you hear someone, when you laugh at someone, you're saying, "I understand," you know, like I get it. That's what you're saying. That's what I really believe laughter is. Like you get something. you know, and it's an empathy that they're having with Hung, you know, and Ish, you know, it's an empathy, and John, yeah, it's something that they're getting on together. That's what they're doing. What better way to get on with something than have a laugh?
How do you know when a Vietnamese guy's robbed your house? Your dog's gone and all your homework's done. Get it? All right, before I go, I'd like to play y'all a little country and Eastern song. And it goes to be like this. And on the farm, called a cockroach, E-I-E-I-O, with a... Old MacDonald had a rat. Yo, 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 hey! Come on, clap your hands for me, yo! They call me O'Hongness. You can say it loud. From the beach from the east, I'm yellow and I'm proud. I'm a refugee, I've traveled the seas. Melbourne, Australia's a place for me. No fear, no shame is the name of the game. Self-consciousness goes up in flames. Do what you do till you get it right. So what are some mofos? They said, shut, be strong, be smart, be aware as you can. And when they get you, they go straight back up again. So yo, everybody in the place to be. And the place to be is to be with Hong Lee. I said, yo, everybody in the place to be. And the place to be is to be with Hong Lee. What's my name? Hong Lee. What's my name? Hong Lee. Thank you, good night.